Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Real Nathan Daily. I'm your law enforcement translator, here to provide insight, you guys. That's all I'm here to do. Some insight. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you know, this is our Wednesday. This is our dedicated streaming time. Consistently, and I will do my best. To make sure that we stay true to this. Our streaming every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys, please mark your calendar, set your reminders. We will not disappoint. And also, if you are on any of these streaming platforms or social media platform, please, by all means, hold on. What's Someone said something about Tatum. Did he? I might have to. I should review his video. But as you guys know, every Wednesday, please set your reminder, set your calendar. Every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope this is a good time for everybody. Try to find like a very good balance. I felt Wednesdays, the middle of the week. I might throw an extra day in there, but there's so much content, to be honest, to talk about. I just have to do better at making sure I jump on it fast enough. A lot of times I like to kind of wait and see, get all the information so I can give you guys a very well-rounded perspective. But with that being said, too, a lot of people are asking me to break down the video with the mail out in Arkansas where the 3 officers were just kind of beating them down. I do plan on doing a review on that. It'll probably be a pre-recorded video, though, simply because there's not enough information. I wanted to wait until the body camera footage came out so we can properly break down the incident. I don't like to react to 10-second clips provided by citizens who just pass by and record stuff. Regardless, though, the officers were being excessive, in my personal opinion. But I'll definitely break the video down for everybody who's been requesting it. So with that being said, this tonight we're going to talk about the incident involving a young lady. She was pregnant. For our color justice warriors, she was a Black woman, and of course the officer was white, right? And so what ended up happening, right? The video went viral. And I'm going to break it down. We're going to go over the actual body camera footage. I'm going to give you my professional opinion. I'm going to give insight. And then, of course, at the end of this, you guys, I take questions. No question is off the table. If I don't know it, we'll find out together, or I'll point you in the right direction the best that I can. You guys, I'm the only one on YouTube who's going to give you a real, sincere, genuine, professional perspective when it comes to law enforcement. Why? Why is that? Because I really want to see a change. There's a lot of things that need to be corrected. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed in law enforcement, period. And, I will definitely debate anybody who thinks different. Anybody. Someone said Brandon Tatum did a review on this and said it was justified. Well, there's some truth to that. We're going to dissect what people are having an issue with. What is justified and what's not justified? We're going to break it down. I have not seen the video that he did, so I can't speak on it. But he said it's justified. I'm not surprised, but I do understand why. And again, my take on it won't be too far probably from his perspective, but I'm going to explain to you what the issues are. What are my thoughts on that? So you guys, if you're not familiar with the case, the situation, we're going to bring up a couple clips from other incidents involving police behavior. What is the issue? You guys, at the end of the day, you see the title, No Excuses, right? Florida deputy loses control. You guys, that's the problem. whether the officer was justified in doing certain procedural methods. Let me just say, let me say everything. So whether or not okay, let's do this before I dive into it. Let me do a poll real quick. Was the officer justified in what he did? Was the officer justified in what he did? I'm going to put a poll in the chat. So you guys, she said, teach him sensei. Yes, the sensei's in the building. I'm going to put a poll. As people are rolling in, you guys please hit the like button on your way in, and we're going to dive into this. Was the officer was a deputy, deputy. Was the deputy justified in what he did? I said officer, let me put deputy. Let me make sure, let me be accurate. Was the deputy justified in what he did? I would say, was the deputy justified in how he was the deputy justified? Let's just listen to that, because I don't want to give it away. Was the deputy justified? Let's ask the community, you guys. Okay, so here we go. The poll is in. Someone said no, and greetings to all. Police bias in play here. Well, we're about to have a conversation. The poll just dropped. Please, if you vote, please vote. There's 67 people watching. We should have. Damn, y'all went straight to it. Hold on, how many people so far? Okay, we got some yeses, we got some no's. Okay, so as you guys continue to vote, let me give you some backstory in this. I will save this comment from Joseph. I think this is a good point. I'm gonna come back to this comment from Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. Does anybody think this was racist? Right? Does anybody think this was racist? We got to ask the questions early before I do the breakdown. Do we have any color justice, Crayola justice warriors in the chat tonight? Anybody? Besides my lovely Michi X. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Was this racist? Burberry says racism doesn't exist. Shout out to you, Burberry. Come on, you guys. Let's throw the votes in. The poll is on the chat. I want to get everybody's thoughts. Was the deputy justified? Was the deputy justified? Someone said he's just a jerk. Absolutely. That's a fact. No, he wasn't. As holiest. Black Gal said undecided. All right. If it was justified, the department would not have fired him. No, the department didn't fire him. He actually quit. The department didn't fire him. He quit. Or was he terminated? Let me double check. I could have sworn he quit. I asked Dre. Dre, can you double check for me? Did the deputy quit? I thought he quit, or was he terminated? Told and was demoted. Charlotte said, Nathan, I really respect you. Could you please do a review on the cop who told and was demoted? I'm not familiar with that case, but yeah, send it to me. Yeah, he resigned. Yeah, he quit. Yep. Yeah, he quit. Okay, Dre dropped it. Okay. Yeah, Charlotte, send me the email me the case. Email me the case, so let me take a look at it. Or if you know the officer's name, put it in the chat, and let the moderators send it to the moderator, and she'll make sure I get it. But I'm curious to know which case you're talking about. Here we go. Gregory's talking it. He was justified in the stop. His professionalism was lacking. There we go. There we go. Absolutely. 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 Dre said he resigned in lieu of termination. Okay, votes are coming in. Pretty good, pretty good. So you guys, let me give you the background on this, and then we're going to play the video. And yeah, I got you, Lavelle. I got the video here. I'm going to play it. So for those who haven't seen it, I'll play the video, and I will break it down as we go for the sake of time as people come in. If you haven't already, you guys, double check. Make sure you hit the like button. You know how that works. It's just part of the business of YouTube. So with that being said, it looks like so far we have 96% said no, the officer was not justified. 7% said yes, he was justified. Okay, I like that. I like that. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about that. And then I'm also going to talk about how to keep yourself safe in situations like this, what things you can do, what options do you have, and you know how to handle yourself. You know, my famous quote is "Comply to survive." It reigns true, especially when you're dealing with an officer who has a massive ego problem, or an officer who's very scared, an officer who's panicky, an officer who's out of control, emotionally out of control. You guys, those are the most dangerous police officers you will ever come across. Scared, frantic, nervous, fearful, right? Trigger happy, oblivious, imbeciles. These are the most dangerous. And then you got to throw the racist ones in there, right? You got to throw them in there, right? Ignorant officers, uneducated officers, stupid officers, immature officers, you name it, we could put them all in a bucket. You guys, they are dangerous. Why are they dangerous? Because they're reckless. They're reckless. They have no idea what they're doing. Untrained, unqualified, out of shape, right? Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous officers to deal with. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That's what we're going to talk about. So let's and then also how to deal with them. How to deal with them. So this is what happened, you guys. Young lady, black woman, she has 3 kids in the car, I believe, and she's pregnant. She's driving down the interstate. She's speeding, right? She's going like 70 something. The deputy tries to pull her over. She does not stop. It is a rural back road. It's dark, 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 dark. So what do they tell you? Especially what do they tell women? You know, it's okay for you to drive into a well-lit area. And it's just not women they tell that to. They tell that to everybody, right? It's okay for you to drive until you get into a well-lit area for your safety. For your safety. This is a fact, you guys. This is what's told. I've told people this. I've told elderly people, women, and I've told men, you know, drive into, and police departments have also shared this, which leads me to another issue. Policing in this country is so fragmented. There's no connection. There's no cohesive network of understanding, consistency, training, and discipline across the board. Meaning there's no nationwide training and understanding that gets updated consistently to ensure everybody is operating under the same guidelines. Just not. You have some police departments that are rogue departments. They do what they want to do, and you can't tell them anything. You can't. And some of them are in Florida. Plan on doing a video about that. Had a sheriff say he's not putting body cameras on his deputies. He don't care what anybody say. But we're going to talk about that. Matter of fact, I might even cover that tonight. Shout out to you, Hakeem, member of the channel. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. You know, this is going straight to the donut fund, brother. Straight to the donut fund. You know, truly a blessing when you guys donate. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Listen, and if you want, I'm gonna drop the I keep forgetting to drop this on here too. A lot of people keep asking about the Cash App. You guys, anything you donate is always a blessing. I appreciate it. No amount is a little amount. So I'm just grateful for the support. It goes a long way. You guys, those who see value in this channel, thank you so much. It means a lot. You guys, so what is the issue? We got to discuss this because I think one of the biggest problems with law enforcement is that you have officers and you have police departments who think that they are above the law, as if the law and the rules and guidelines stop with them. You guys, that's not true. It's absolutely not true. And that's how they conduct themselves, as if the law stops with them. Everything stops with them. That's absolutely false. And I think that's where we have to get this country back in the right direction, where everyone is on the same page. And we recognize that, yes, though you are law enforcers, you are not above said law that you are enforcing. Who is supposed to be enforcing the law over the police? The people, you guys. All power has to funnel back to the people. That's how you keep balance. And I think we've gotten away from that. We've absolutely gotten away from that. And there lies the biggest problem. Who watches the watchers, right? If we're saying we want better transparency and the citizens have to beg for it, then there's a problem. If the citizens say we want our officers to have body cameras, then you put the body cameras on. Period. And this altercation is exactly the reason why body cameras are needed. Why? Because we need to be able to see the interaction of the officers. What's funny is the actual sheriff's department said they didn't even know about this incident until it went viral. What does that mean? It means it's imperative that citizens record their encounters with the police. It's imperative that the citizens record their encounters with the police. You shouldn't have to do that. I'm all there with you. I agree. But guess what, you guys? Times have changed. Or have they? Or has this always been the norm? If so, the problem now is that we are finally putting the right type of magnifying glass on the behaviors of officers who have no business doing this job. They're not qualified. They don't have the mental fortitude. They don't have the patience. They don't have the ability to do the job without losing control. You guys, this job is not for everybody. It takes a special person. You have to almost have the patience of a monk, not just any monk, a Tibetan one, right? A specialized monk. You absolutely just cannot get in this profession and think you'll be good at it. If you're easily irritated, if words offend you, if you can't handle being called a pig, if you can't handle being insulted, if words bother you, if you're quick to lose control, if you have a temper, this is not a job for you. It's just not. The job is stressful. Stressful. And I'm not making excuses for citizens acting any kind of way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not making excuses for citizens. But today we're talking about the police. We're talking about them. Sometimes I have these conversations and there's police officers who catch the video and then they have to say, well, if the citizens weren't doing this and the citizens weren't doing that. Well, if she wasn't doing drugs or she wasn't hanging out with a drug dealer, this would have never happened to her. Well, if this wouldn't have this and this wouldn't have that, all these. See, accountability, though, this is a profession. And in a profession, you're supposed to be professional. And if you're not professional, then you shouldn't do the job. Shouldn't do the job. Every officer, no officer at this day and age should be allowed to police without a body camera. I'll challenge anybody. Anybody. Absolutely anybody. So what happened in this situation, and why is the body camera so important? If it wasn't for the body camera, we would not have seen this incident. It's easy to document this, omit things that make you look bad as an officer, and really just paint the picture in a way to where the actual citizen looks like they're in the wrong. What happened? It's late at night. Woman's driving. She got 3 kids in the car. She's pregnant. The officer tries to, he catches her speeding, going 70-something miles. Cool, it's illegal. He tries to pull over. She doesn't pull over. What does she do? She turns her hazard lights on and she slows down. Why? She wants to get to a well-lit area. But here's the thing, you guys. The officer doesn't know that. The officer doesn't know that. We got to give the officer some grace. He doesn't know. I'm going to tell you what I would do in this situation and what other officers have done as well. What happens? She slows down, hazard lights on, and she continues to drive. Eventually, a mile later, she pulls into a parking lot of a gas station where it's well lit, and the officer does what the officer does, you guys, and we're going to watch it. But before we even get to that, I've already seen issues with this officer already before he even got to pulling her over. No control. Highly sensitive, extremely emotional, and ego problem. Ego problem. So let's check it out. You guys done voting? Where are we at now with the votes? All right. So if you haven't voted already, real quick before we get in the video, if you haven't voted yet, the vote is in the poll. Knock it out real quick. What is it? For the yes and the no's, was the deputy justified? All right. 2 minutes, and I'm taking it off. Shout out to Mr. Plum, Mr. P. I don't know how to say your name, bro. He's from Eidos, Detroit. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's 12% do this. Y'all are wrong. All right. So far, we got 11%. 11% says the deputy was justified. 89% says the deputy was not justified. All right, let's play the video. And I guess, matter of fact, after the video, and then we'll let everybody finish. So here we go. For those who haven't seen the video, let's do it.
Pull the vehicle over. Pull the vehicle over, put you into the ground.
All right, already. Pull the vehicle over. I'm going to put you into the ground. There we go. You guys, he already lost it. It's over with. That's it. That one moment tells you exactly what how this encounter is going to unfold, how this thing is going to unfold right then and there. If you don't pull over, I'm going to put you down. I'm going to put you in the ground. I'm going to throw you up out of here, right? The energy is already off. He's already angry. He's already flustered. He already lost control. Already, you guys. Here we go. If you don't pull over, what is this? What are we listening to? We're listening to a person with an ego problem. How dare you not listen to me? How dare you not listen to I? Do you know who I is? Right? I am I. How dare you not listen to me? How dare you not pull over? Who do you think you are? When these lights come on, you do as you're told. You guys, that's ego. That's ego all day.
Stop the vehicle! Where is that?
There's an update.
Speed 30 miles an hour, approaching fast track.
So what does he say? They asked for an update. He says, going 35 miles an hour. The vehicle slowed down. Why is it important and imperative for an officer not to lose control? Because anything can change at any moment. And when you are emotionally out of control, you've lost it, you're incoherent, you don't know what's going on, you're all over the place. You can't make good judgment. You don't make good judgment. And right now, when you hear you're all excited, you've lost it, something happens, you panic. Why? Because you've already riled yourself up. You're yelling through the speaker. You guys, you don't have to yell through that. It makes your voice loud. That's what it does. He's yelling. This is a perfect example of an officer who's already lost it. This type of officer is very dangerous. Because if you make the wrong move and they're present, they pull the trigger, you guys. They pull the trigger. And he doesn't even know what's going on yet.
How's your traffic looking?
Moderate. Give me 33 traffic. Vehicles turn.
And there's through traffic, it's about 48, dash time.
Turn off the vehicle right now! Turn off the vehicle right now! I want to see your hands! Both your hands! Both your hands! Do not move! You make any movement, that'll be your last mistake you're gonna make!
If you make any wrong movement, that'll be the last mistake you'll ever make. Whew. You guys, this is the officer that everybody complains about. This is the officer that gives other officers a bad name. This is the officer that they label as a racist. This is the officer that they say has an ego problem. They're absolutely correct about the ego. They're absolutely correct about an officer who's lost his control. He's unhinged. If you make the wrong move, that'll be the last mistake you'll ever make. How is that even called? What is that? Is that even called for? He's already telling you that he's about to panic. At any moment, he'll pull the trigger. Now, some people will say, Officer Daly, you know how the job is and anything can happen. Yeah, but he's lost control. He's lost control. Could you imagine any wrong move, you guys? He's pulling the trigger. What do you do in a situation like this? Now, but let's take it back. Is this right here? Is the procedure justified? Yes. The procedure is justified. Yes, you guys. Absolutely. Him addressing a vehicle that refused to stop based on his perception at the time. Yes. This is not uncommon. You draw down on the vehicle. You order the person out the car. This is not uncommon for a vehicle that has not stopped when the vehicle should have stopped when the officer initiated the traffic stop. We have to remember that the officer does not know what is actually going on between the driver and the occupants in the vehicle or whatever. There's no knowledge of that in this moment. In this moment, there's no knowledge of that. His professionalism, this is the question. What he said, was that necessary? Absolutely not necessary. What do? You put the person in the vehicle in fear. People are in fear, they do things that are reckless, right? So we gotta be mindful of where we are in the situation. So let me continue to play it so we can play this out and then we'll break it down.
Do not move!
48 to 9.
One at gunpoint. One at gunpoint.
Gunpoint.
Now, what's going on? So he ordered her hands out the window so he could see he could see the hands. Then he's going to start giving her instructions, you guys. Thus far, by protocol and procedure, the officer is absolutely correct. This is how you handle the situation. His choice of words were not professional at all. I believe they also made the situation a lot worse. And depending on who you're talking to, it can create chaos within the situation. So for the sake of understanding police procedures, you guys, the officer is in policy on how he's actually conducting this stop. I'm going to tell you and point out where he starts to fail. All right. So in this moment, he's probably waiting on backup, as he should, because in his mind, he doesn't know why the vehicle or why the driver refused to stop and drive all the way into this particular spot. As officers, you guys, we always have to look at the most dangerous scenarios first. Our safety is a priority, and the way we handle that is very, very
Driver,
crucial.
with your left hand, open up the door. Won't you unlock it then for me? I ain't worried. I got my gun on you. We're all good here. Step out. Okay. Go ahead. Take it off.
So right here, the way he talks to her, again, lets you know what type of officer we're dealing with. Ego. Oh, don't worry about it. I got my gun on you. So you basically, you can play around if you want to. I'm going to pull the trigger. You guys, this cowboy, this lethal weapon attitude, I've watched too many movies. I think I'm Mike Larry. That right there does not work. It doesn't work. He's out of control, you guys. He's out of control. This is unprofessional behavior. When I first started my channel, I tried to point out a lot of things to you guys. I said, where you see racism, I see an untrained officer. Where you see racism, I see an officer that's unprofessional. You guys, I'm looking at an officer with a bad ego who's extremely, grossly unprofessional. Arrogant. Yeah. How about you unlock the door for me? Oh, yeah. Okay, no, we good over here, man, because you act silly, you're out of here. Cocky. For what? Who are you serving? Or are the people supposed to serve you? You guys, this is an issue. This is why I say you have officers who can be justified in their actions, but then be unjustified in how they did it, how they conducted themselves. Does that make sense? You're justified in what you're doing, but not the way you did it. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't sound right. The officer is authorized to conduct a traffic stop, drawing his weapon, ordering the person out the car. But the way he goes about doing it is the issue, right? That's the professionalism in this thing here. And then you also have violation of policy because the way you are talking and addressing the citizen, that is an issue.
Get off. Try something.
Sir,
Step out.
I have my three.
Who else is in the vehicle?
I have my trying to talk. I have my 3 kids in the car.
Okay.
And the reason why I did not stop is because I'm in the middle of nowhere and my husband tell me not.
Your excuse means nothing to me right now. I don't want to hear it.
You asked me.
That good.
You asked me a question.
Cool. Awesome. You want to turn around for me?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
What a dick. What an asshole, right? This type of officer should have been fired and never given the opportunity to resign. You guys, these are the egos that I talk about. Now, listen, I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? But there's a lot of officers who act like that. They could be in a justified situation and they always want to add a little sauce on top to make themselves feel better. People lead with their insecurities. What is he? Yeah, okay, yeah, power tripping, absolutely. Like, this is so uncalled for. And he's not even conducting. This is where he's now breaking policy. What is he doing? Well, outside of the unprofessionalism, right? The disrespect to the citizen, all uncalled for. Now, what's the next issue? He's walking towards her with his gun out. You guys, that's not how we're supposed to do it. He's supposed to actually order her to walk back towards him, towards the car. And then what happens? You lay down on the ground, you're handcuffed there while someone else is watching the vehicles to make sure no other dangerous people are inside the car. That's the way you properly conduct this, is what we call a felony traffic stop. A high-risk traffic stop. That's how you conduct it. You order her out the car, you tell her to walk back. Ma'am, walk back towards the sound of my voice with your hands above your head. Okay, do you have any weapons on you? No, sir, no weapons. Okay, can you lift your shirt up just high enough so I can see around your waist? She lifts her shirt. Okay, ma'am, I need you to spin around and do a 360. She spins around, goes right back around. Continue to walk back, ma'am. Okay, put your hands behind your back. That's it. What does he do? I'm going to show you what he does.
All right.
And my 17-year-old, my 10-year-old,
Okay.
and my 1-year-old.
Cool.
I've never been pulled over like this before.
You don't know how a traffic stop works?
Yes.
You don't know that a vehicle's behind you with license signs for a mile. You're not going to move over?
Sir, are you?
Stop.
I'm pregnant, sir. I'm 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
Out of control. Out of control. You guys, unfortunately, his behavior is not a crime. But should it, though? Should it be a crime? What would it look like? What would it look like? Absolutely right. Millennial Mark said officer safety just went out the window. Someone could have been in the car. Yeah, he handled that completely wrong. You know, what is this? What does it look? What would it look like if officers, it was a criminal offense to be unprofessional, right? To be unprofessional. If people came to judge this behavior and the citizens of the community deem this to be grossly unprofessional, what if that was a charge? Violation of your oath of office. This should be, you guys, completely disgusting. It's disgusting. I don't like it. Violation of your oath of office. Regardless if you retire, resign, whatever you decide, the violation of oath should be on his record. Why? He just did it, you guys. This is what a violation looks like to me. You violated your oath to the people. What does that mean? You should never be able to put a uniform on ever again. It's like the military, you guys. What happens if you act a fool and you get kicked out? Dishonorable discharge. Good luck getting a job. Even out of the military. Good luck. Policing should have that, right? A dishonorable discharge. If you quit in lieu of termination, you quit under investigation, you should not be allowed to get another job as an officer or a security guard. Any job that requires you to carry a gun or a flashlight. Can't afford you doing security with this type of ego. Wow. This was hard to watch. I've seen officers do things similar like this, you guys, and I check them. Absolutely check them. And I don't hesitate to call it out. People always ask me, have you ever told on an officer or turned them in when they did something illegal? People never done anything illegal around me. The worst I had was a coworker knocking somebody out after spitting on them in handcuffs. We had to write it up. They asked me the questions. I told them what happened. Hey man, we got to report this to the supervisor, bro. You can't hit someone in handcuffs. It is what it is. Now I understood why he hit him. Like I did, but self-control. Self-control. This officer has destroyed public trust like many others before him. And those who are doing a great job have to work twice as hard now because of this. He is why people don't trust the police. That's the reason why I can get on here and not blame people for hating the police. I'm not mad. I don't like a lot of them either, you guys. I want the profession to look better. It absolutely can look better, but it takes all of us. But this is unacceptable. I believe, matter of fact, I need to add this to my reform ideas. If you resign in lieu of termination, you should be unable to police at all. If you don't have the courage to stay and get investigated properly, then that right there should be an admission of guilt, and you should no longer be allowed. That's part of the byproduct. You can't do the job nowhere else, nor a security guard. I don't want you watching cameras. Oh, I just need to hold the flashlight. Not even a flashlight. I can't trust you with keys. I can't trust you to oversee people because you don't have the heart. Your heart's not in the right place. You have an ego problem. Any uniform, you're going to lose yourself. Anything shiny on your chest, you're going to think you're better than somebody else. You cannot be in a position of service. It's disgusting. I hate these cops too. These type. There's different types. But this type, nah, not at all. Not at all. Yep. T. King said, bad conduct, administration, dishonorable discharge. Absolutely correct. Get him up out of here.
Only reason
I'm handling right here now. I have you in handcuffs, right?
I know that.
Okay,
the
cool.
only reason why I'm trying to tell you, the only reason why I didn't stop, I'm a married, educated woman
Okay.
with a master's degree. I swear, Lord knows I'm not doing. I was only not because it's dark out, and I have 3 kids with me. I'm pregnant, and I did not want them to feel uncomfortable.
Cool.
That's why I put my hazard lights on.
And then all that is shady. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
That's understandable.
And now I got them coming.
It's
Because it's a big old thing you had to make of it.
I did not mean to do it.
Cool. Awesome.
You can check everything.
This officer is not fit to do the job. Not fit to do. I mean, it's just that simple. This is not a profession he should be in. Now, what is the thing though? Let's look at this though. What should have happened? I have made mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, you guys. In 13 years, I made plenty of mistakes. And you know what happens when I make a mistake? I apologize. I apologize. And why? Because I might react or respond out of concern for my safety. But the moment I realize it's not what I thought it was, ma'am, first, let me just say I apologize. I did not mean for this. I didn't mean for that. Thank you for being patient. I'm sorry for the kids. Let me talk to them, explain to them the situation. But, honestly, the things that go on, this type of behavior gives the impression of this. And therefore, we have to respond in this way. His apology needs to match his disrespect. His apology needs to be just as passionate as his disrespect, you guys. That's how it needs to look. This whole ego thing that some of these officers have, I'm telling you right now, it is an absolute problem. Some of these officers are on steroids, right? That's a problem. That's a problem. He was disrespectful. He was unprofessional, condescending, rude, ignorant. You guys, all the above. I've had plenty of situations like this where things look suspicious. And then when I get up to the situation, I realize that it wasn't what I thought it was. You guys, and then I apologize. Male, female, young kid, old, doesn't matter. I apologize. Pulled you over. Your car matched the description of this vehicle that we're looking for. Exact match. Guess what, you guys? I'm so sorry. Even when they curse me out, you guys, I got to take it on the chin. Why? Because I was wrong. I was wrong. I've apologized plenty, even when I didn't want to. Even when I didn't want to. When you're wrong, you're wrong. There's no ego over here. I've had my ego moments. Let me not. But man, the moment she got out the car, he walked up to the car and saw children in the car. Heard her explanation, you guys. His gun should have been put up. She should have never been put in handcuffs. Yeah, give her the ticket all day, you guys. But this is not what he thought it was. If you cannot critically think in this profession, you don't need to be in it. He was unhinged from the very beginning. The very beginning.
Anything you want to check?
I am. I'm going to. But I wish I would have done that over there. I could have given you a warning for speed and get you on your way.
Absolutely. I'm just telling you why.
I don't care about why. Just shut up.
Yes, sir.
About the why.
That's what got him fired. That's what got him fired, you guys. Or that's what was going to get him fired. What was going to get him terminated was his professionalism, not his actions. There's a difference. You don't talk to a citizen that way. Absolutely not. Just shut up. And then these officers get mad when someone walks over and put their hands on them. He handled this thing 100% wrong, you guys. Take a quick break. Shout out to you, Shay. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Shay's always showing love. She just dropping no comments. She said, I'm just spectating. I'm just watching. I'm just watching. Thank you so much, Shay. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You guys, shout out to Miss Washington, right? This is the lady who was just put in handcuffs. You guys, she was more calm and reserved than the officer. She had more restraint than the officer. She was more composed than the officer. What did she do? She followed instructions. You guys, could you imagine if she did not do what he asked her to? There's a high likelihood that she would have been shot or thrown to the ground, pregnant. Why, you guys? She was already out of it. People always make fun and say, police officer were those kids in high school that used to get beat up. You guys, this right here might be the one. This right here might be the one that you guys talk about all the time. Right? Got to keep it real. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Man, she had it together. She had it together. What did she do? She cooperated. He was out of control. This is the perfect example that I talk about all the time. He was so out of control. His actions are not justified based on the response of the citizen. Why do I say that, you guys? This is what I talk about all the time. Your actions can make the officer look bad. But when you are resisting, when you are not cooperating, when you are yelling, when you are also throwing insults, you give the officer all the excuses he or she needs to be justified in why they use the level of force that they use. He's not justified in any of this up until a point. Up until a point. By her just being calm, cool, collected, he exposed himself. See, he can't say that, well, I had to raise my voice because she raised her voice. I had to draw my gun because she wouldn't show me her hands. She wouldn't lift her hands up. She kept complaining. I had to do this because she did that. I had to do this because she did that. Listen, I had to yell. I had to kick her. I had to throw her on the ground because she did this. You guys, he can't say that. That never happened. He can't make up any excuses. You guys, this is how you expose bad officers. This is how you expose them. Shout out to Martin Luther King, you guys. What did he do? He made people look stupid. He made people look stupid. They did it to themselves. Yeah. Yeah. And now he's out of a job. You know, this is a very hard battle to fight. Very, 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 very difficult battle to fight when we're talking about law enforcement. People who initially have all of the say-so in the beginning. To deal with a bad officer, you guys, you have to be smart about it, right? Let's just be real. You got to be smart about it. Shout out to Fred Jones. The $5 super chat says, what's the point of driving to a well-lit area then? I agree. I agree. I agree. The problem, though, is, as we know, every officer is not going to handle a situation like this. But you never know what kind of officer you're getting. And it's like Russian roulette. You got to be careful. That's why the highest probability of safety for you as a citizen is to comply, is to cooperate. She did right. She had somebody recording in the car, recording the incident. Thank God this deputy had body camera too. Because what is his report going to say? His report's going to say, refused to stop, finally stopped, pulled her out at gunpoint, handcuffed her, wrote her a citation. He's going to omit all of this other stuff. You guys, this is why body cameras are needed. Absolutely needed. Shout out to you, Fred. Thank you so much. So Fred brings up a good point, you guys, and this goes back to my solution. Let me point this out, especially to the ladies in the chat, those who have young kids and you want them to be safe. What do you tell them, you guys? If you're in a situation like this, yes, turn your hazard lights on. Slow your speed down. What else do you need to do? I tell people all the time, call 911 and let them call the officer and let the officer know what you're doing, you guys. Please spread that message to everybody. Listen, when I tell you guys to share these videos, the ones that I do, listen, I'm going to give you information. This information is free. Your safety is free, right? The love that I have for the citizens that I serve, which is everybody in this country. You guys, listen, I want you to be safe. How do you handle this situation? You can call 911 too. I tell people all the time, call 911. Hey, I'm getting pulled over. We had to tell citizens this too, because in the past we had someone who was pretending to be the police, right? Pulling people over, kidnapping them and doing God knows what, right? As we already know how the story goes. If you feel uncomfortable, call 911. Hey, I just want to double check. There's a police officer behind me. I'm in a red vehicle, blah, blah, blah. Yes, sir. They're trying to pull you over. Okay, listen, it's really dark right here. Can you please let the officer know that I'm slowing down and that I'm going to go to the next gas station to pull over. You guys, that's absolutely legal for you to do. Unfortunately, you don't know what kind of idiot officer you're going to get, so you got to be careful. You got to comply. You got to cooperate and be calm. Absolutely be calm. The way she handled this was flawless, you guys. But that's not fair to her, which is why he had to resign. Because he already knew he was going to get fired. I wonder what his records look like. I wonder what his actual records look like. Shout out to you, Anthony Glover Jr. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Please, you guys, share that information. Please share that information. Please share that information. There needs to be consequences behind his actions. Why? Because that does send a message. When officers know they cannot be unprofessional, that can cost them their job, cost them their license. I believe officers need to be licensed. And if you violate your oath, right, to serve the people and you're in violation, then that's it. You shouldn't be able to work anywhere. Dishonorable discharge. No department should ever touch you again unless they want that liability. Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate this support, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Someone asked, she's going to sue. Yeah, but she doesn't have anything. She's not going to win anything. He didn't violate her rights. What would he sue? What would she sue over? It'd be a waste of time. It'd be a waste of time. It's not against the law to be unprofessional. I don't see any violation. He was just an asshole. You know? He was just an asshole. Looks like we got more votes. Cool. We got 100 votes in. 84% said the deputy was not justified. 16% said the deputy was justified. All right. I think the numbers changed a little bit after seeing the video. Let's finish out this video and then I'm gonna take questions, you guys.
Yes, sir.
Don't care about the why.
I'm sorry I made you mad.
5548, 1 detained. There's 3 kids in there. Just check on me, see they're okay. What is your first name?
Ebony, Ebony.
Ebony?
Mm-hmm.
She's super calm too. She's super calm. I want to fast forward it.
Echo Bravo.
My daughters just got their hair done. But I mean, I have no.
You ever been arrested anything before?
No, I've never been around. I'm an educated woman, a teacher, have a master's degree. I've been teaching.
I don't know why she keep saying she got a master's degree, but okay.
Years, I have my own business.
5540 David. 5540 Bradford. Can you run David for
That's the last comment. I'm out of here. Try to use Sac City.
I swear to God. If I'd have known this was, if I'd have knew that
What
just,
did you think? I mean, you said you're educated, correct? Master's
Yes,
degree.
and
What did you think the outcome was going to be? He had his license irons on.
Now, this is what I say is disrespectful as well. Condescending. You know, ma'am, you said you got a master's degree, right? Well, what did you think was going to happen? Whew. Whew. Man, you guys, God forbid if they put me in charge of law enforcement in this country, we'd probably lose half the police force. Absolutely half the police force. Ma'am, you said you got a master's degree, right? Okay, what did you think was going to happen? Whew. suspended. Talk to my citizen like that again, and you're out of here, officer, deputy Dickwad. Deputy Dickwad. Wow. Wow. How disrespectful is that? You know, citizens can be wrong. We don't have to be assholes about it. Right? What would I do? What would I do if I had an officer or a deputy that felt like he was above the citizens he's supposed to be serving? I'd take his gun away, you guys, and I'll make him do community service in the community for a month. Or you can quit. That's what I would do. Hey, Deputy Dickwad, guess what? Sheriff said you got to do community service for a month down here at the YMCA. I'd have him in the communities picking up trash. I'd have him in the communities knocking on people's door, asking how he can serve them. I'd have him in the communities cutting people's grass. Why? Because somebody has to teach you how to be a servant. Putting him in a job where he feels like he has to be on his knees in order to understand his position. When you think you're above people, that's the problem. I believe, and this is in my reform ideas, is that during the academy and even after, officers should commit to community service as part of a work day. No gun, just a uniform. Yep. In the community that you're serving. Community service day. Okay, you work 4 days a week. Guess what? One of those days are going to be community work. Why? Because what ends up happening, you guys, you do this job for so long, you start to become detached from the people you're supposed to be serving. You have no real connection to the people that you're enforcing laws on. The moment you don't have that connection, or the moment that connection is severed, that officer distances himself, alienates himself from the actual people. And there lies the problem. There lies the problem. Next thing you know, it's more like the people are serving you. That's the issue. That's the issue. What this officer just said was completely disrespectful, condescending. You know.
You failed to stop.
My PA was on too, yelling at you.
You didn't decelerate speed any.
I did decelerate me, decrease my speed, right? Yes, sir. I was on 55, and it was 65 at the time. No, I wasn't going 55 when the lights came off. I was going 70.
I was going to pull you over because I got you doing 75 at that light back there,
Yes,
okay? It goes from a 75 to a 55 real quick, easy enough. I was going to pull you over.
Take her out the damn handcuffs. She's not going to jail. Why is she in handcuffs? You guys, I'm telling you, if I was in charge of training, if I was in charge of making this fix, we're losing half the police force. 700,000 police officers, what we got, right? Approximately. We're losing half. And those who come in new are going to be there with new standards, new integrity, with a new mindset. You got to get these old dinosaurs out of the job. That's the problem. You know, I'm not going to play any more of that video. This reminds me, though, real quick. I wanted to speak on this because this is how bad the ego is. You guys remember that incident, the traffic stop, where it was an all-black vehicle and it was completely tinted windows. There was no license plate. The officers pulled the vehicle over. The gentleman did the exact same thing. He waited until he got into a gas station and pulled over. And you know what happened to him?
Public outrage is mounting over this traffic stop.
Open the door!
Captured from several angles as police draw their weapons.
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
2 officers stopping U.S. Army Lieutenant Karan Nazario for not having a rear license plate on his new SUV, according to a police report, which also notes
The moment you notice the situation and you realize that's not what it was, you guys, you have to tone it down. You got to go down a notch, a couple notches. You have to de-escalate the situation. There's nothing wrong with how you respond, but how you end the situation, where you go after you have the information you need. You have to de-escalate the situation, period. This situation right here is a perfect example of 2 cops who were on an ego trip, God complex, whatever you want to call it. You guys, this became an actual contest between 2 people, the citizen and the officer. The officer's on some, you do as I say, I don't care who you are, sir, you've already pushed it too far. And instead of owning it and just apologizing, you have to then maintain the same ego trip so that you don't feel like you look like an idiot. You guys, sometimes in this job, you just got to take it on the chin. There's some officers that can't do it. They don't want to do it. They refuse to apologize. They refuse to just admit when they're wrong. These officers were wrong in this situation. You go up to the window with your guns out. You realize, oh, okay, you see a military uniform. Now, doesn't mean he's not, right? But he explains to you and says, my plate is here in the window. I apologize. It's a brand new car. You know what happens after that? Okay, so do you have ID? I got ID right here. Okay, guess what? You put your gun up. Hey, I apologize. Let me explain to you why we did what we did. Because in this area, we get stolen vehicles, so forth and so on. And so for our safety, sir, we have to do that. So again, we apologize. No disrespect. Okay, you have your license. Okay, cool. Let us run this. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, where do you serve? You serve. Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you. Me too. I served in the military as well. You guys, that's de-escalation. That's it. The moment you find out, you either turn it down or turn it up. Great question, my dear. Great question. What type of training do officers get to de-escalate situations? Hardly none. Hardly none, right? Officers are taught, but we're not trained. That's the problem. That is the biggest problem. Officers are taught, they're not trained. We're trained to shoot. We have to qualify on that all the time, twice a year. It's a standard nationwide. De-escalation, we used to call it verbal judo, using your words. How do you use your words to de-escalate, disarm people, keep a situation calm and collected? It's hard to teach because it's a skill. If it's not in your heart, if you have an ego problem, if you're arrogant, then a lot of these things, it doesn't come natural. It doesn't come natural. When you think you're above everybody, when you think the citizens are there for you and you're not there for them, you won't even see it. What you see is someone violating you. What you see in the moment is someone disrespecting you, right? So people with egos, they never see that they're even in the job. It's I that you offended. How dare you? Do you know who I am? Do you see this uniform? How dare you? I don't care about your excuses. I don't want to hear about what you said. It doesn't matter. Do as you're told. Whew. This is the problem. What'd they do?
They later saw a temporary tag inside, taped to the tinted window.
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated.
Yo, what? Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I don't know, babe.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I ask you what's going on?
About a minute later, Officer Joe Gutierrez, whose termination was announced late Sunday, pepper sprayed.
Look at that. You guys, he should have been arrested. The officer should have been arrested. Listen, power is not for everybody. I say it all the time, right? Sprayed him. His hands are out. The window. You guys, does anybody remember this? Does anybody remember this? The officer should have been arrested for assault. Should have been arrested for assault. This case pissed me off. You guys, I believe that when you start holding officers accountable, people change. He sprayed him. Of course, he got fired, but should he ever be able to do this job again? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Praise Nazario.
Get out of the car now!
That's
Get out of the car now!
I'm trying to breathe. Ugh.
Gutierrez and his former partner Daniel Crocker.
Look at him. The guns are still out, you guys. At what point does this become criminal? I think, and this is what citizens are complaining about. At what point does an officer's behavior become criminal? At what point is it the officer's justified and then the officer goes beyond his justification? You guys, this is the issue that has to be addressed. And you have people in this profession that refuse to acknowledge it. I'll acknowledge it. Why? Because the reality is that the reality, this is true. This is the problem. When is an officer supposed to de-escalate? What does de-escalation look like? Officers are taught, but they're not trained. When I say trained, I mean trained. Trained. You don't have enough common sense to know when a situation no longer requires your gun out. They did it to a woman who's pregnant and they recognize there's nothing but children in the car. You still have your gun out. You handcuffed her after knowing what the situation was. So when I get up here and I have these conversations, I assure you I understand how you feel. I absolutely understand how you feel, which is why I understand how to fix the problem.
Now facing a $1 million lawsuit alleging a violation of constitutional rights.
Absolutely.
Nazario, who is black and Latino, says it was due to racial profiling.
Take off your seatbelt and get out of the car!
Look, I'm just gonna please.
You're gonna do what you're told.
The lawsuit filed earlier this month also claims police threatened to end Nazario's military career if he spoke out about the incident.
My client wants to prevent those two officers from doing it to anyone else.
Tonight, the town of Windsor, Virginia, describing the events as unfortunate, as Virginia's governor calls for an independent investigation. Jeff Bennett, NBC News, Washington.
I pray that he received $1.5 million for that. $1.5 million. He absolutely is going to win that lawsuit. Absolutely. Absolutely. Whew. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? There's a way to do it, but it requires everybody's help, right? It's disgusting, man. I hate it, you guys. I wouldn't have started this channel if this wasn't something that was important to me. I've seen officers risk their lives for other people, white, black, Asian, Hispanic. And I've seen officers throw their freedom away over pure stupidity. I've seen officers use excessive force and be reprimanded. See, in my department, they didn't play, you guys. I came from a department that held you all the way accountable. I have people I know who are in prison right now to this day. Some just got out for doing things they had no business doing. You guys. So, what's the issue? The issue with policing is the power complex, the superiority complex, unearned respect. That's the issue. What do I mean by that, you guys? This is the only profession where the uniform, the badge, the accessories, right? The ensemble, that alone commands respect. And I learned this a long, long time ago, back when I was like 22. You guys, I was way too young. I started policing when I was 21. Was way too young to do this job. By the grace of God, I had enough maturity to understand what it was I was doing as I was doing it. But I was way too young. 21, way too young to be a police officer. Too much power. Way too much power. I would go places and people would just submit to me, right? But not because of me or because of the uniform. The uniform commanded respect. That's what's so powerful about it. You're like a little celebrity. You're walking around and people want to give you free stuff. They smile when they see you. They submit themselves. They give you a lot of good vibes, right? People who don't like the police, criminals, are afraid of you, right? They go the other way. You guys, that's power. That's power. And if you don't have the mental fortitude to actually keep yourself grounded, keep yourself rooted in truth, understanding, and purpose, you're out of here, right? The power sweep you away. Too much power. The uniform commands respect. When you come in contact with someone, as an officer, as a person, you already acknowledge that person's authority, whether you like it or not. An officer walks around with that uniform and people are submitting themselves to them. Respect. You have to respect that uniform or else there's consequences. The problem with policing is the unearned respect, meaning I have a uniform on. You have to respect it because you know the law. I have the power to enforce law and authority over you, whether you like it or not. It's my perception. It's how I feel. I can police through my ego, through this uniform, and there's nothing you can do about it, you guys. Some people, it goes to their head. It absolutely goes to their head. You have to respect the uniform, even if the person is not a respectable person. Could you imagine? You have to respect this person's position, even though they're not worthy of being respected. That right there, you guys, that small caveat, that is the problem with policing. The power of unearned respect. What would it look like if officers, you didn't have to respect them until they shown you, until they proven that they were actually respectable people? The uniform means nothing. You have to show me that you're someone worthy to be respected. And not the other way around. Not the other way around. The power of unearned respect. All that does is feed ego. You're respecting the uniform, but you can't respect the person. That's the problem. Yep. Questions, you guys. The poll, we got some good votes in. Was the deputy justified? The answer is yes, the deputy was justified. 83% no, 17% said yes. You guys, the deputy was justified. The issue with the deputy was his professionalism. But was his actions legal, lawful, and by policy? Yes. Was his behavior a violation of policy? Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of times with law enforcement in these situations, you guys, two things can be true at the same time. You had an officer who was justified in using deadly force, but he was not justified in the in the amount of force he used. Right? You could be justified in using lethal force, but not justified in the amount of excessive force that you use when you applied said force. You guys, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. Michi's right. And you guys, that's why I can have conversations with everybody about this problem, because majority of times people are right. They've had bad encounters with the police. My issue is that sometimes we label those encounters incorrectly, inaccurately, right? We label them inaccurately, but nonetheless, they're a bad encounter. Nonetheless, it needs to be fixed. At the end of the day, whether we agree on was it this or was it that, we agree that it's wrong. We also agree it needs to be fixed. And I always like to come to the conclusion or come to a meeting point and say, how about we focus on fixing the problem? Let's just focus on fixing the problem. Because that's something we can agree on, that there's a problem. Any questions? Any questions? You guys know how we do this before we close out. I'll take any questions. Put a Q in front of your question. And then I'll answer it. Does anybody want to come up for a disagreement? Disagreement. We're going to do disagreements at the end. Any disagreements? Does anybody disagree with this being justified and they don't understand why it's justified? And would like to come up? You're welcome to come up before we close out. And we can have a dialogue about it. So I'm gonna throw that in there for the moderators if you catch that. Throw your questions up. Let me scroll up, make sure I didn't miss any. If I missed your question, you guys, please just put it back in the chat just in case. The common sense expert, shout out to you, brother. He says, question, in your reform plan, would you consider making all new officers do 1 or 2 years in the county jail before they go on patrol? I think this will weed out bad apples because there are no guns in jail. That's actually pretty good idea. I never thought of that, but I believe I don't think that would be an issue. To 1 or 2 years, I think 1 year or 2 years would be too long. Now maybe a psych ward where you got to wrestle people, right? I'd rather use that 1 year and send officers for a whole year to actual hand-to-hand combat training, right? I would rather, instead of putting them in the jail, wouldn't do them any justice. I'd rather put the officer a year worth of physical combat training where officers learn how to fight. A lot of these officers don't know how to fight, which is why they rely on their weapons so much. And that's one of the things I'm going to bring up in the video involving in Arkansas. The Arkansas police were dealing with that gentleman. It's the same issue we saw with Patrick Leola. You had an officer who didn't know how to fight. You had an officer who did not know how to utilize any type of self-defense tactics, hand-to-hand tactics. And so because of that, he couldn't wrestle his own weapon, his taser, out of a suspect's hands. And then he felt that his only best course of action was to shoot him in the back of the head. So Lisa says, do you know how long he's been on the force? No, I actually don't know. That's actually a good question. And I didn't see it. I didn't really do too much research into the officer just simply because the video was so cut and dry. But that's a good question. He's gone now, but I think as more stuff comes out, we will definitely find out more. Shout out to Dre Blanco with the super chat. He says, with great power comes great responsibility. Dre's on his Spider-Man tip right now. He's right. The question is, how do we get better, responsible people in the job? You know what's funny? Me and Dre, you guys know we were in the academy together. And on the first day, we could look around and see out of, what was it, like 55 of us, Dre? Look around, and I saw at least about a strong 10 that shouldn't have even been in there. You could just tell they had no business being in there. Crazy. Shout out to, oh shoot, I haven't seen you in a minute. Brock, shout out to you. $5 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He said, I definitely believe what you are doing here on this channel is needed. Man, God bless you for that. Thank you so much. He said, if no one else has told you recently, I greatly appreciate you, my guy. Oh man, much love, brother. Much love. I appreciate it, man. I think we're building this channel brick by brick. And I think that the people who are here truly see value in what I'm doing. And I am so grateful. When I started off, I was a little nervous. If you see some of my old throwback videos, I was trying to put it together. I finally gotten a lot more comfortable. And I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in the things that I'm saying. And I do believe that it's going to make a difference. I just don't know how or when, but I believe it will. And so I'm leaning with that. Shout out to Fred Jones. Oh yeah, I got Fred already. Shout out to you again, Fred. Shout out again. I hate sometimes if I miss these super chats. I never want to miss them. So I apologize sometimes, you guys, if I do. Let me see questions. Sochi 314. Are police reminded that the driver manual tells citizen do exactly what she did? That's a good question. That's why I believe that once the officer got the explanation, he should have toned himself. He should have de-escalated the situation. Should have toned himself down, because you can still give a ticket. You can still apologize. That's why what he did was not illegal, but he wasn't representing the values and the integrity. I won't say integrity, but he wasn't representing the value and the professionalism of his department. Who would ever trust that officer, right? Who would ever trust him in that community that he's serving? Who would? And if he talked to her like that, I guarantee he's talked to some other people that way. He was way too comfortable. But that's why the job is dangerous, because people do lie to us too, right? So as officers, we have to have the ability to understand and see through situations, but that's not on the citizen, that's on us. We got to be better at it. It just is what it is. Good question though. Mary Johnson says, and I almost missed this, Mary, you got to put a Q in front so I can catch it. Mary says, hey, do you think white American cops are racist, or do you think they just have big egos? I think ego doesn't have a color. Absolutely does not have a color. I've seen egos in all skin tones, race groups, religious groups, when it comes to policing. So with that being said, let's take that part out and let's say, do I believe white American cops are racist? I absolutely believe there are racist white cops in America. Absolutely. I also believe that not every white cop is a racist, right? So we got to just be honest. That's not true. I've seen white officers take bullets for black people. I've seen white officers risk their life for black people. I've seen white officers running, burning buildings for black people to save black lives. So you'll never, ever, 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 ever hear me say that white officers are racist. There are white people who are racist in this country. And unfortunately, they have jobs, right? So there's no way, if you or somebody else can invent the tool, the method, or the device that can identify a racist person, you'll be a billionaire, because everybody's going to want that device, right? So unfortunately, right, who has the power to judge the hearts of the people? Not I, right? So I think the problem is you have racist people who have jobs. You know, what are you going to do about it? Our hands are tied with that. So that's probably the unfortunate thing. But a racist white person is not the biggest issue in policing. You got corrupt officers. They come in all colors. You got officers that are criminals. They come in all colors. You got officers that are pedos. They come in all colors. So unfortunately, there just needs to be a better vetting process all across the board, and then more accountability, more discipline. But I think that's a great question. Eagles come in all colors, though, all colors. I know somebody's gonna do it. Listen, I know somebody's gonna do it. See, people get mad at me when I bring it up. Somebody did it. Somebody did it. Ray Calhoun says, do you believe this would have happened to a white woman? Listen, you guys, this happens to everybody. The police problem is an American problem. The police problem, I repeat, is an American problem. If you are an American, if you are a citizen, this is a problem we all share, you guys. This does happen to white people too. Listen, I say it all the time. Don't let me go into my folder, my white people too folder. All right? Please don't let me do it. Don't let me do it. I will do it. Shout out to Uncle Stu, old man from the block. Hit us up with the $5 super chat. It said, Real Nathan Daily, my dad said police used to come from the military. Do you think police should have at least 2 years of military training? Man, that's a good question. I will say this. Some people say that they believe that officers who have military experience are a part of the problem because of the PTSD complex. Then others say that people from the military are better trained and better disciplined. I can see both sides, but I have not seen any studies on that. A lot of people from the military are in policing. So I honestly don't know how to answer that. But what I will say, though, is military, they're trained more. They get more training. They have more downtime to train. And they're held at higher standards. They're held at higher standards than police officers. Go figure, right? It's hard to give officers that level of training because of the money and then also because of the time. But there's a way to get the officers more training if you reduce the amount of type of crimes or 911 calls they respond to. So my personal opinion and part of my reform package, over 70% of the calls that officers respond to, they should not be responding to. If you take away that 70% that they should have no business going to, you can use that time to, one, put them in the community to do service work, and then also to train them more properly. Officers should be trained for over 2 to 3 years, not 3 to 6 months. I guarantee you, if we make that change alone, you will see a decline and a decrease in a lot of the issues and complaints that people have. Absolutely. You can't train someone for 3 months, 6 months, give them all this power, and then think they're going to do it or use it properly, right? How naive of this country to think that that's the best way to go about it. But that's a great question. Shout out to you, Uncle Stu, and thank you for the super chat. Let me see. Any questions? Someone hit us with the shout out to you, Sochi. Yeah, what Sochi say? Don't let the media fool y'all into believing it's just black people. Yeah, man, this is, you guys, white folks get it bad too, right? The incident in Arkansas, we just saw We just saw where the officers are beating this guy over the head, slamming his head on the concrete. It went viral because someone posted the video, but I guarantee you the media wouldn't have showed it if it didn't go viral because, what I've noticed about white people, you guys, is that when I talk to them, and I've talked to them in the past about crime and incidents, where the questions stop with them is, did this white person break the law? When white people are looking at it, if you say yes, they walk away. They don't want to hear nothing else after that. They're like, from what I've seen, my personal experience, having these conversations in the past and even dealing and interviewing them, which is different stuff, they don't even want to hear anything else. Once they hear that you violated, they don't care what your outcome was. They blame you for the outcome. Well, what happened to Timmy? Well, Timmy was breaking into people's houses, okay? And the police showed up, they ran, Timmy ran, and he turned around suddenly and police shot Timmy. And you know what the white people say? I guess Timmy shouldn't be going in people's houses. And then the conversation's over with. The conversation's over with, you guys. 99% of the time. That's why you don't really hear a lot of that segment of the white community really raising Cain about criminals. They don't. Even when I talk, that's why I'm just saying, you don't see it. They don't cape for people who break the law. They don't care about what your excuses are. A lot of times when I talk, they don't really care. They don't care. They think everything's an excuse. Timmy had to break into the house because he was trying to put food on the table. They'd be like, well, what was his parents doing? What I hear from a lot of white people too, when situations happen, I watch these videos or I talk to them about stuff. They blame the parents. So you know what they say? Well, I guess you should have raised a better child. It's like, damn. They don't really, I haven't seen a lot of them roll with excuses too much. I'm just being honest. Just being honest. But I will say this though. There are times where the officers are absolutely wrong and they take the life of a white person and they raise hell about it and the media doesn't cover it. That's a fact. That's a cold fact. The question is why, right? Why would the media not cover it? I could show you cases. I can pull up articles. I can give you information and you'll be like, who was that? When did this happen? How'd the officer get away with that? Did the officer go to jail? You'd be like, yeah. You can be like, how come I didn't hear about it? Huh? You tell me. It's so bad, you guys. Since I got on this channel, I had to collect all of this stuff. Cases from a long time ago that I know about. I put it all in a folder and I call it White People Too. Because the media has done such a great job of making us believe that Black people are the only victims of police brutality. Dangerous game the media plays, you guys. Very dangerous. That's another thing that inspired me to start this channel, to bring truth and insight to the profession. Can you give examples of calls police shouldn't respond to? Social calls, like alarm calls, social calls, disputes between people, civil disputes, car accidents. I would say that call where it's my son, my kids, they don't want to go to school today. Right? My car broke down. A lot of those calls. You know, a lot. There's a lot, but to name a few, you'll be surprised what people call the police for that are not emergencies. Absolutely not emergencies. So let me go back to, as we're closing this out. Who's Ray? I'm not picking on you, but this is very important. Fred Jones said mentally ill. Yeah, I think with that, dealing with that, I think officers need to respond. So my idea with that is when you have people suffering from people going through a mental health distress, what should it look like? The idea that I have for my package is that the officers wear a nurse uniform, they have their vests underneath, and they have the weapons that they need disguised or concealed under the nurse uniform. That way that their presence is not triggering or alarming when they're responding to a person suffering from a mental health crisis. And so if they need to give assistance to the nurse that's there on scene to evaluate, they can do that because they are trained to do so. And if the person presents any type of lethal weapon or to that extent, the officer will still be armed and be able to actually mitigate the threat. But that way, I believe the command presence is not there because people are often triggered by the uniform. So yeah, that's my idea. It's the only idea I have. But I think when it comes to people going through a mental health crisis, but sometimes small tweaks can make a big difference. Do you believe this would have happened to a white woman? Let me dive into my White Woman 2 folder real quick. You talking about the guy? The French fries at McDonald's? I was gonna do a video. I probably still need to talk about it. I think that would be a good comedy talk. You're right. If the officers didn't respond to that dispute at McDonald's about his French fries being cold, that would have been a murder suspect that would not have been apprehended, right? Yeah, very true. Shout out to you. That's true comment. White People 2. You guys, we're gonna close out with this. Let's go through my White People 2 folder real quick. Let me see what I got. There's a lot. Oh, yeah, he did. Let me is this it? All right. White People 2. Shout out to Ray Calhoun. Everybody, shout out to Ray Calhoun in the chat. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for someone to make it about race, and then I'll do the White People 2. So this is White People 2. Shout out to Ray Calhoun. Not picking on you, but I think you made a good point. It's a point that a lot of people make. White People 2, you guys. We diving into the White People 2 folder. Shout out to Ms. Ed. Diving into the White People 2 folder, and we are going to address it because Calhoun brought it up. So let's see. And before we dive into that, my Lois Lane, thank you so much. He said he missed so many opportunities to change his behavior and give her and her older children a positive experience with an officer. What a waste. That right there, you guys. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That is actually what it is. In that moment, he had an opportunity to really change the perception. You know, at the end of the day, the officer still has to do his job. He has to do his job safely, ensure that he is safe. Not taken away from that. The officer did that. He followed protocol, right? But that experience was a traumatic experience for not only the driver, that lady, Miss Washington, but also for her kids. He left a negative impression on them. And that was an opportunity for him to, one, explain why he did what he did respectfully, and then talk to the kids, and then also give them a different perspective and say, hey, listen, I apologize. You know, when I talk to kids, I know a lot of officers do this too. You know, we get down on one knee and we have a conversation with them, you know, and that puts us in a place of humility. And then also puts us in a place where we are eye to eye with the child that we're talking to, you know. And, you know, those little things matter, man, because at the end of the day, these kids are now traumatized. I didn't play the video with them recording because it's just too much, but, you know, the kids are recording and they're crying as they're recording, watching the mother go through this. And so, though I'm not faulting the officer for the procedural aspects of the job, he was justified in doing it. But that professionalism, you guys, you know, that professionalism. And so it's just another opportunity ruined. And, you know, now how are her kids going to grow up? What are their views on the police going to be like? Right. So it's very sad. Very sad. Shout out to you, Miss Lane. You are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct with that. Yeah, I am gonna talk about this, about the Atlanta woman. I was waiting for more information to come out to understand like what the motive was behind it. So I'll definitely plan on covering it this week. I was thinking about doing it just as a pre-record though, and not as a live stream. But yeah, I will be dropping the video on that. It's definitely worth talking about. Ooh, this is a good question. I see you, bro, man from the fifth floor. For those who don't know the joke about the fifth floor, it's hilarious. But let's dive into this. White people too, you guys. Someone made me go in the folder, so we're gonna go in the folder tonight before we close. Bro, man, I'm gonna get your question last. That's a deep question. White people too, you guys. White people too. Far. We have to dive in. So let me give you a backstory. Officer pulls this woman over. Bless her heart. She's 67 years old. And she's white. I put the most extreme cases in my folder. That way no one can complain about, or what if she was an old white woman? Or what if she was a young white woman? Listen, it gets no worse than this when you have an older woman or man, doesn't matter, an old person, and the officer loses control, has no self-control, does not use any type of common sense, and goes above and beyond a level of disrespect and shows why certain people are not worthy to do this job, right? So equipment violation, you guys, is what the officer pulled her over for. And guess what kind of ticket this was? She refused to sign the ticket. It's an old white woman. Now, you remember our woman down here in Atlanta, the black girl, what'd she say? I ain't signing the ticket. Ma'am, if you don't sign the ticket, you go to jail, right? Do y'all remember that? For those who missed that live stream, please run it back. Please run it back. This old lady here, bless her heart, she's 67 years old. She refused to sign the ticket. What the officer do, you guys? Stand by.
Hello.
Hi.
So what's going on with your truck?
It's been hit, and we're waiting to see if I can't find a bed for it, a short bed. It's drivable.
Yeah, but it's not legal because you got a busted taillight. You got your driver license insurance on you?
A busted taillight. She just said the car was involved in the accident, busted taillight. Okay, cool. I get it. It got to be fixed, you guys. This is an equipment violation. Equipment violation.
I've driven it up here ever since it's been like this.
How long ago has it been like that?
Probably about 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, you've had plenty of time to get it fixed.
I've driven it up here a lot.
6 months. So she says to the officer, it's been like this for 6 months. He's like, well, you should have had it fixed. Now, I agree. 6 months, you guys, half a year, right? Well, maybe her money a little funny at the moment. Maybe she got funny money, right? Times are hard, right? She's 67, bless her heart. But what the officer say? 6 months, ma'am. 6 months. It gets better.
Okay. Well,
I drive to Kingfisher, I drive it to Guthrie. I stay off the interstate.
live here in town?
No, my name's Hamill. I live out on Highway 74.
Hamill, huh?
Yeah, Hamill.
Gotcha. Related to Hank?
I'm his mother.
Oh, okay.
Now the officer is like, I know your family, right? Like he's getting all comfy with her, like, oh, okay, you know Hank. Yeah, I'm his mom. Now you know this man's mama, right? I'm telling you, there's officers, they don't care if it's your grandmother. They don't care. I know an officer who'd write his own mother a ticket. Me and him almost got in a fight in the back lot. Couldn't stand this guy. Couldn't stand this guy. He was a, right? No one liked him. No one liked him.
Insurance.
Let me fast forward. Now, all right, he comes back. Oh, let me fast forward. He comes back with the ticket, you guys. He comes back with the ticket. He comes back to the ticket with grandma. She's 67. She's an old white lady. Bless her heart. Right? Equipment violation. Her car, the tail light's broken from an accident. 6 months. The officer's like, I don't care. But also know Hank. Oh, you're Hank's mom, right? This is the relationship. They built this whole relationship in this small amount of time. What happens, though? He comes back with the ticket, ma'am. I need you to sign this.
All right, Miss Hamill. Since you informed me that you've had that for 6 months.
Oh, yeah. And we're just looking for a bed because we can't find a short bed. I mean, my brother's looking for it.
Can you at least get the light?
I don't know if I can get the light. They've got lights on them, don't they? They do have lights in them, and they do work.
Well, it's broken.
Yeah, I know it's broken.
So if you hit your brake lights, that white bulb's going to blind somebody at night.
Oh, okay. Well, can I put red tape on it? Will that work?
Yeah, but I don't think...
She said, I'll just put some red tape on it. Why not? Right? He's like, oh, the lights will blind somebody. Just I'll put some red tape on it. He's like, I don't think that's how it works, ma'am.
I don't think red tape's going to help you there. You don't have enough plastic to tape over.
Well, I kind of hate to buy one if I'm going to get the whole bed and it's going to have everything on it.
I got you.
I just don't want to spend the money.
I understand.
And, I don't drive it to Texas. I don't drive it in the city. I go to Guthrie, Kingfisher. I'm going right now to check on cattle.
Okay. Well, I did issue for a defective equipment. It's $80. You have till September 16th to take care of this. To get you to sign there with the Exodus.
So you don't even give a warning for this?
You've been driving around for 6 months like that.
I'm truthful.
Well, I'm not going to give you a warning for something you've been driving for 6 months.
But you've seen me in here. You've seen me in town.
No, I haven't.
You had to if I've been up here.
Nope. Either way, I'm issuing you a citation. Sign there, please.
Well, I don't want to sign it because I don't want to do $80.
You don't want to sign it?
No, because I don't think that I deserve to pay $80 for...
She said, listen. She said, $80? I don't got that kind of money. Why should I have to pay? I don't invest too much money. It's too much money. What? Listen, does this sound familiar? A lady in Atlanta, she said, I don't have to sign the ticket. Ma'am, yes, you do. Or you go to jail. Are you going to sign the ticket? Right? When someone blink real hard. I love in this moment, grandma is rationalizing it. Why? Because she's a grandmother. Who would ever take her to jail? You guys, you have to have a heart of stone. She's such a sweet lady. Not to this officer. He gives 0 capital F's, you guys. What does he say?
Something that is fixable and I can fix it.
Right.
That's all you want to do.
Go ahead and step out of the car.
Why?
Because you're under arrest. Step out.
Listen, you guys, white people too. White people too. Does anybody here think that this does not happen? It happens to everybody. What'd she say? I'm not going to sign it. I don't have $80 to give you. I can just put tape over it. Why are you harassing me, officer? I'm not going to sign. Ma'am, are you going to sign the ticket? No. All right, step out the car. Why, sir? Why? Why do you want me to step out the car, sir? Because you're under arrest. Why? Because you refused to sign the ticket. You guys, this is something that happens everywhere. Again, the police problem is an American problem, you guys. What'd you say? At least Officer Brooks gave a warning before the arrest. That is, Officer Brooks! Officer Brooks, what are you doing? I'm trying to arrest you like I promised I was, right? Everybody's surprised, right? Everybody's surprised. You're absolutely right. You guys, this gets crazy. See? Someone made me do it. They made me go in the folder, the white people too folder, and here we are. Because people want to play games, you guys. This is an American problem, right?
Step out of the vehicle.
No, I'm not.
Step out.
No.
Step out. I'm giving you a lawful order. Step out.
Oh snap. What did she do, you guys?
You be fair with me, and I'll be fair with you.
Step out.
No.
You're under arrest.
No, I'm not.
I'm placing you under arrest. Step
you
out.
You are full of because you're not placing me under no damn arrest.
Step out.
No, I'm not.
305, 303. Do not take off.
Shut up and give me that, and I'll sign it.
Step out.
No.
We're beyond that.
Do you want me
Step
to
out.
What did he say? What did he say? The same thing Officer Brooks said, you guys. When an officer says you're under arrest, you're out of here. It doesn't matter what you think. There's no takebacks, you guys. It's not a game. What did he say? You're under arrest. All right, damn it. Just give me the damn thing. I'll sign it. Just give me the. What did he say? Ma'am, it's too late for that. It's too late for that. Said it's too late for that, you guys. Shout out to Soul Sounder Siege. Did I say that right? Saunders. I hate saying certain names. I say it wrong. It makes it look bad. Anyone who believes cops have it out for only one demographic in this country are heavily brainwashed. Yeah. We got to thank the media, crooked activists, you name it, right? Politicians, you name it. What does grandma do? What does grandma do? He says, get out the car. You're under arrest. No, I'm not. Give me the ticket. Let me just sign the damn thing. What did he say? Ma'am, it's too late for that. You're going to jail. Oh. Run away. Who's grandma? Get your grandma gone, y'all. Gone.
305 dispatch. Got one taken off.
Deputies, occupant is going to be 1.
We're going to be pulling into the DEP oil facility.
Oh my God. Grandma, how you going? What do you see, you guys? What do you see? You see police procedure. He pulled his gun out on a 67-year-old woman. Down to T. You guys. He pulled his gun out on an old lady. Grandma out. Grandma gone. You know, Granny back in the day, she probably wasn't nothing to play with, y'all. She ran from the police before. She ran from the police. Granny ran from the plug twice. You know she did. She got that energy. She got that. She ain't scared of police. I ain't signing shit. She got the. She peeled out. You guys, this officer, look what he's doing. He took his gun out. He has his gun pointed at a 67-year-old woman. Why? Because just because she's old doesn't mean she's not dangerous. What did she do? He pulled her over. He had a legitimate reason to pull her over, give her a ticket. They have a policy in the department that you have to sign the citation or you go to jail, right? You're forced to post a bond on that ticket, you guys. Now, what did she say? I'm not signing it. Ma'am, sign the ticket. It's $80. Huh? I'm not going to sign that, Sonny. I'm not signing it. What did he say? Ma'am, if you don't sign it, you're going to jail. I'm not signing it. Step out the car. For what? You're under arrest. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Step out the car. You're going to jail. All right, give me the ticket. I'm not. Nope, it's too late. Does this look familiar? Does this look familiar, you guys? Does it look familiar? Officer Brooks. This officer didn't even give a badge number. He didn't even say his name twice. Does it look familiar? What happens?
Get out of the car! 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 Get out of the car!
Oh,
Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
You better leave me!
Put your hands behind your back!
Leave me alone!
Put your hands behind your back!
No!
Now!
I said leave me alone!
look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Leave me alone!
Put your hands behind your back!
It's not funny. It's not funny, right? I actually don't like this. But her scream that she did. I don't like this because it wasn't necessary. But is the officer justified in doing it? Technically, yes. Technically, yes. Right? Technically, yes. Was it necessary for him to do it? No. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It is hard not to crack up. Shout out to Sarah. It is. It's hard. But if she was black, you guys be mad. Let's be real. It's funny when she's white, right? You see that? See all the laughs in the chat? If she was black, y'all be mad. You see what I'm saying? Fred, y'all trifling. Fred says still funny as hell. The moral of the story, right? The moral of the story, white people too. White people too. The problem is if she was black, you guys would be mad. You'd be mad. If it was a black person being tased in this situation, a 67-year-old black woman, you would be mad. You'd be furious. You wouldn't like it. You'd call the officer a racist. Right? Catch yourself. You got to catch yourself. That's the double standard. If you chuckled a little bit on the inside, you're in the wrong. You need to have the same visceral reaction of anger and frustration, regardless if the person's white, black, Hispanic. Just because they don't look like you doesn't mean this shouldn't make you angry. It's not okay, no matter what color they are. Period. If you laughed at this, but you cry at the sight of a black woman going through the exact same thing, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You need to go in here and check that. Go in here and check that, right? It's the reason why I have a white people too folder when people constantly want to compare white versus black. No, this is an American problem. Period. The officer was wrong. Though he was justified, he was wrong. This is not the way we want to handle ourselves and conduct ourselves as servants to the people. Was he justified? Absolutely. Was it necessary? Absolutely not. You mean to tell me this grown man couldn't subdue a 67-year-old woman? He tased her. Why did he tase her? Because the policy said he could do it. You see the problem with that? White people too. So when some white people too fold, it's hilarious. Y'all love laughing when white people get hit up by the police, but as soon as that person black, y'all be the first ones crying and complaining. It is funny though, I ain't gonna lie. But here's the problem, right? You need to laugh when the person's black too.
Put your hands behind your back. Lay down and put your hands behind your back. Now. No, you will not. You're going to get it again.
And he tased her again. Right? Judy said non-biased laughter all around. All right, I respect that. What did Michi say? Michi was the first one laughing. Michi, I know you was laughing. Michi was like, get it, Karen. I'm just saying it's not that the officer was wrong. I'm saying this is not the way we want our officers to be towards our citizens. I think that is what we are talking about. I use this as an example because on this situation, on the other situation, it wasn't that the officer was wrong about how he executed police procedure. What people don't like is how the citizen is being treated during the execution of an officer's job. That's the issue. That's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue. I didn't give this justice. Shout out to the big homie, Sir Hale Speaks. You guys, love this guy, love his content. Please check out his channel. The moderators can drop his link. You guys, I don't get a chance to go over there much. I get a chance to listen into the conversations. Always giving some good advice. He's his content on relationships, dating relationships, interaction between men and women. Great content, great conversation, guys. So if you're into that, please go over there and check it out. Please support his channel. Let him know I sent you. You know, so I surround myself by some really great content creators. I really enjoy their work. And, you know, we're all here just to build. So shout out to you, Sir Harold Speaks. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I really appreciate it. What was I going to say before I close out? Common Sense Expert says, are you going to start a white people too segment at the end of every show? Give the people balance. You know, I think that's a good idea. I sometimes try not to do it because I like to focus on the context. I like to focus on the insight. And I don't want to turn this into a show like Indisputable, you know, with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Shout out to him. You know, he focuses very heavy on race dynamic. I want to give people something different because this isn't necessarily for entertainment, right? We have our little moments when we get to laugh and clown, but for the most part, this isn't a channel for entertainment. But I do need to be a little bit more entertaining, right? Like I need to make sure I give you guys a couple laughs here and there. But I mean, you know, this is a serious topic. These are serious topics, and I want to respect, you know, the victims, the officers. I want to respect them as much as possible and not turn it into a joke. I feel like a lot of people are already doing that. But there are some cases where I will definitely make sure I balance it out, especially when some people are really adamant about this being a race thing. Then I got to dive into the folder. So shout out to, I was waiting. I wasn't going to do it. Until somebody said something. So again, shout out to you, Ray. This is not picking on you, but I was waiting to see if someone was going to do it. And that's okay. I think it's a great question to ask. And I think that question is simply just based on the fact that some people don't know. But I think when you do know and you start doing your own research and things like that, it's on us to share that knowledge with other people who might have still thought the same way, right? Because we want to break through that veil of we want to enlighten people. We want to enlighten people. T Kings, you wrong. T King says she should have had her life alert on and pressed those police emergency. Oh my God, y'all. This video now is on the record. If there's an old black woman getting tossed around by the police and getting tased, I don't want to hear nothing from this channel. Not at all. Not a word from y'all. Not a word. Not a word. So this is great though. What are you talking about? Y'all are silly. Shout out to you, Mr. Andrew. That's it, you guys. We're at our 2-hour mark. I told myself we're hitting these 2 hours and we're cutting it. Listen, you guys, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you so much for everyone who supported collectively into this channel. You guys are truly a blessing. I cannot do this, could not have done this without you guys consistently. Thank you for constantly supporting. Please share these videos. It means a lot. You guys help get the message out. And remember what I said, a little advice for those in a situation similar to this. Listen, if you're pulled over, you're trying to get to a place, a safe place, call 911, let them know to speak to the officer and tell the officer what you are doing, so that the officer can start to de-escalate himself in the car so that, you know, you don't get an officer like this. Shout out to Miss Washington. She handled this flawlessly. I hate that she had to go through this. I hate that her kids had to go through this. Though the officer was conducting his job justly and following procedures and protocol, his professionalism was below standard. It was his words, his condescending tone, his disrespect, his ego was 100% unacceptable. And it's one of those things that we have an issue with in this country that needs to be addressed properly. Glad he resigned. Let's hope he doesn't pick up a job somewhere else. I'm pretty sure the internet trolls will find him and give his life, and harass him wherever he's at. They're good at that. So it's unfortunate, you guys, but we also have to make sure we acknowledge that there are officers who are doing a great job and are doing the job by the book. We got to keep balance and not let the media desensitize us to a point where we feel like all police officers are bad officers. So with that being said, you guys, I enjoyed you. Thank you so much. With that being said, let these truths find you where the lies have left you guys. And with that, good night and God bless.